Welcome to Honestly Speaking, the podcast where we have honest conversations about the issues shaping our lives. I'm your host, Antonia Howard. This episode is a special one to commemorate January 18, which marks the official end of the war in Sierra Leone. The day has been declared National Remembrance Day to honor victims, survivors, to reflect, to remember, and to recommit to peace. So in this episode, I'm asking a simple but difficult question. What does remembering demand of us now? To answer it, I start with a place where memory is held and where responsibility was once examined. The Residual Special Court for Sierra Leone. It now sits quietly in the loud hustle and bustle of the city. But it exists because there was a time when what happened here could not be ignored. This is where the country tried to tell itself the truth. The court was created to hold accountable those who bore the greatest responsibility for the war. On the same grounds is the Peace Museum, a space that now carries what the court uncovered: evidence, testimonies, statements of loss, survival, and violence, many of them told only once. Patrick Fatoma is the outreach focal person here. He walks me into the records room. There are dozens of gray and white boxes, all neatly organized on shelves.
Them box them we see us, so then white box them. Then get all the public documents of the special court in work. The trials that we been they go on, the people that we them in the trial, information about them, decision that we then take, all them other work then we the court been they do, and then they inside them white boxes then are. So yeah, now the archives room inside we they protect them for future generations. And all them things we they inside them box here, so like hard copy them. We don't digitalize them. Then they now in a digital format where they now with website. On the other side, you get them gray boxes there under. Then at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it documents them. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission even recommends say, let we get a day we go declare as a Remembrance Day, so that every year all Sierra Leoneans then go member. Of course, they not be anticipate the creation of a peace museum yet, where the peace museum is also a remembrance site. It's important for we to remember, because it's very easy for forget. Inside the world, you find out say even the leaders of them big countries then don't forget for say Second World War and First World War been there. In a small country like Sierra Leone, if finally we ensure say then kind of trouble the way we go through for 10 years, let it not come again.
The TRC warned that without remembrance, wounds would remain open, that peace would be fragile, and that silence would be dangerous. For years, people have been advocating for those recommendations to be taken seriously. Joseph Kaifala is one of them. He meets me here at the Peace Museum. We walk into a small room just off the main exhibition space. Its walls are covered with photographs, mass graves from across the country. This is where we sit down to talk about what remembrance is meant to do.
Remembrance is a way for us as a nation to achieve collective healing and also to take care of the needs of people who bear the brunt of that conflict and continue to suffer in our midst. Remembrance is particularly not about the dead. They're dead. Remembrance is for us to reflect on the issues that led to the conflict that created so much violence and those people had to die, and to commit to a peace process and the rebuilding of society in order to prevent similar violence in the future. Conflict hinges on real failures in society. The reason we fight is because we cannot have what is our right and what we need. Therefore, if we do not deal with fundamental issues that affect citizens' rights, we're definitely prone to violence. And that is why I believe a National Remembrance Day is important, so that we can discuss these issues openly. And when we are all having these conversations and our leaders are responding to the needs of their people, we can avoid conflict, or at least violent conflict. But if we do, as this nation is prone to do, to pray for peace, I always say peace does not fall from the sky no matter how hard we pray.
Joseph talks about peace as a process, one that doesn't end with an agreement. And as we step back into the main exhibition space, photographs trace the stages of Sierra Leone's peace process. Moments when the country tried to correct itself. But the photos don't pretend the work is finished. The Peace Garden sits on these grounds. Hundreds of names are carved into the walls. People who died during those years. Other carvings tell what the names cannot. The violence committed. This place is built for reflection and for reckoning. It's here that I meet with Marie Bob Kandeh, Auntie Marie, as most people call her. Her work has always been about holding communities together, long before peace was signed.
My name is Haja Marie Bob Kandeh now. Or that's the way they talk so. I'm named Marie Bangura. I be they sell na salad grom. I dey sell vegetable and fruits. Then I keep back up fish. Me I'm intelligent. I be dey give information. Then at the same time, I dey talk to people there, make they maintain the peace. I be there from Taylor Street. I dey waka from Taylor Street till I go Calbato. I waka back, I come for contact. Then she dey there. All the other side they market them dey. For tell them say because they have been don't pour the body be don't do. So man no market, no get market again. So man they sleep angry. All thing hat one. So what I they do as the president and Sisi Mama I say, Marie, no sit down. Yeah, because ECFW almost convinced her for joining them. So I they come out under them, me they go to them, cheerleader them at the market. Tell them say, no, man, not join them all. After we them bring them people, they so Germany where they got a wounding action. So what should we do market women? Through campaign for good governance, we cook plenty food. We cook beaucoup food. We can't go to the 34 military. For the people the way to Germany the way they be wound. We did the whole day, we go with them, we talk with them, we give them drinks, we give them water, we give them food, they may appreciate it.
Auntie Marie now works closely with survivors of the war through the Residual Special Court. I ask her about what survivors still need.
On the declaration, you know, say we get reparation package, no so it be when we talk for say, then people in the way affected so. The amputees them, the rape victims them. Because some man, you don't get for fala man say die. Now they tell me. So man, he get picking them, well, you know, you look after them because you don't get anybody again. Every month, they see in period. So man, I be big mommy they so. But all that today, then they bleed. You know, so I think for say then people then they for take priority in terms of that reparation. The other issue, if you look at people there, the poverty plenty. Some man from where they poor in market doing that and they don't even forget market again. Pass no man away Igbara. Where Igbara they call it sell on commission basis. If I take that phone, they say, hey, and they sell them more 50,000. So then they go for 55,000. The 5,000 and a million. I can't give you 50,000 back. If you get Boku Pikin, I go live for that 5,000 instead. So me feel for say, the government for try for make a side where go make people they may be able for access money.
Listening to Auntie Marie and Joseph Kaifala, I can't help but wonder how many lives those words belong to. Inside the Peace Garden, hundreds of names are carved into the walls. But not all the consequences of the war are written here. Many are still living with trauma that didn't end when the war ended, and with bodies that were changed forever. Some of those voices come together through the Amputees and War Wounded Association. I return to the studio to speak with their General Secretary.
We, as amputees and war victims, we sit down with the government. We give them only 4 recommendations out of the 200 and above recommendations we don't give. The first one, education. We forget free education in the country. We and we own family, or we picking them. The number 2 recommendation, we forget free health care. The number 3, we forget stipend or pension. And the number 4, now this one, when the last one, January 18, say every year we will remember this day.
And so we remember. Not just for those who lived through the war, but for Sierra Leone, as it is now. Because Sierra Leone today is young. A significant majority of the population is under 35. Many of us were children when the war ended.
Now they picking them where we were born. They're very much conscious. We are the war victims, where they carry the scars of the war. As we were born, we picking them, so then they grow up. Then can ask me some questions. Say, Papa, waiting do you? Why you other one them correct? Why the other one they all get to hand, you get to one hand, the other one they get 2 foot. Look at that, you call that company, they get 1 foot waiting. We just say na the war. Na the war. Then they ask, who that then na the war? I say na the rebellion caused the war. They say who that na the rebellion. So once I get for go buy the plates, cry free town, I play am for him. So he try for understand. And he asked me, Papa, you know would I be doing this? I say no. I say because myself I be small. Say all this na the war cause am. And he asked, what caused the war? Because I 10 years speaking now. So it's necessary for let them put this, for let them educate them picking there.
Katko is right. If we don't teach our children, and if we ourselves don't seek to understand, we leave important questions unanswered, and that may have serious consequences. It takes me back to something Joseph said to me earlier in the Peace Museum.
We always say, children are the future leaders. I believe that if that is the case, we ought to prepare them for that leadership by teaching them their history, the good and the bad. The Civil War history is part of our history, and it's going to be part of our national psyche for several generations. Conflicts come out of certain failures in society. And one of the best things we did after the conflict was to create a Truth and Reconciliation Commission with a mandate to provide an impartial historical record of the conflict and profile recommendations. The TRC said that we needed to make sure that its report receives the widest possible dissemination, especially to school children. As we speak, that material is not yet officially in our school curriculum. If we do not teach the history of that civil war, the causes of that conflict, we will not prepare the next generation to avoid that kind of error in their leadership that led to an 11-year civil war in this country. It won't happen out of good intention or forgiving and forgetting. We ought to make intentional effort into making sure that the next generation of Sierra Leoneans understand their past in order to prepare them for future leadership. If we don't do that, they won't understand the question that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission really grappled with. How did a peaceful country such as Sierra Leone descend into a violent conflict nearly 30 years after independence?
That question doesn't belong to one person. It belongs to a generation that lived through it, watched it unfold, tried to make sense of it as it happened. Hannah Fuller and Dr. Julia Spencer were working in the media at the time, using radio to counter fear, misinformation, and silence. Professor Joey Diali was documenting the country's history, trying to trace the roots of what was happening. I bring them into the conversation, not to relive the war, but to interrogate it.
What led us to have a war in the first place? Many times I heard people describe, even including myself, describe the war as a senseless war.
Some people generally refer to it as a senseless war. I don't quite agree with that explanation. We may disagree with the methods and the motives for the war, but there were underlying reasons.
The TRC report, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report, the vast majority of Sierra Leoneans have paid little or no attention to it. I would recommend that all Sierra Leoneans should try and read the section which deals with the antecedents to the war. What is it that led to the war that we went through? It was 11 years civil war. What led us to that war?